Heyo everybody, Haku here with the final third of Reiwa no Dara-san Volume 4. We have chapters 32, 33, and the volume bonus. And the bonus chapters have been some of the best. They have been so funny, so good each volume so far. So I'm excited for that. I just think they've been really, really good. So that gets me excited. But in general, I can't really say anything that I haven't said basically every read through going into it, where I love the structure of getting the flashback, then getting the main story. The comedy is really good, the fan service is good, the story and lore and world building around this town is so good. I love this kind of setting, and I think it's been done so well. I absolutely love the characters and all the connections between them. Everything's just been written so incredibly well. And if anything, like I said last time, my only, not really a criticism quite yet, because again, we're only 32 chapters in as of right now for me, is that we started off with this really good balance of the character development and the horror and serious stuff with the comedy and the fan service. And I feel like there's been a little bit less comedy, not a ton less. There's been a little less comedy, and I feel like there's been a solid bit less fan service. And we've had more serious stuff. And again, while I think the serious stuff is really well written, I would like to get a bit more of the balance back. I think we're leaning a bit more heavily into the serious side of things, and we've been leaning away from the comedy and the ecchi. And the ecchi can happen with the comedy, or it can happen with the serious stuff, but I want a bit more of the comedy and ecchi back, just because the past few chapters have started to feel a bit more unbalanced. And I would like to get back the early balance of like volume 1 back, because I feel like it was so perfect there. And again, while I think it's still amazing, I think it's great. I've been so obsessed with this series. I think it's lost its balance a little bit, and I'd like to get it back a little. So those are my thoughts heading in, but let's start chapter 32. We start with each of the 9 families that carried on Jurota's bloodline would go on to form a strong connection with the mountains. That's so cool. That's exciting. Okay, so the Nagi family, like whatever her family's going to be called, like the modern day Nagi, whatever her family is, I forget their names. There's the Misogiyas, the Tomitas, and there's probably another priest family that we know of. Okay, and then maybe Miwa's family, maybe the Kozue family. And so there's this one character that I've been thinking was Kozue the whole time, but I think that it's not that Kozue shows up a lot. I just remember her name because we had a character page for her. But I think there's another character that just looks a lot like her. And so every time I see both of them, I'm assuming it's the same character, but I think there's actually 2 different ones. So we'll see. But this is cool. We're setting up a 9 family kind of system thing. These connections were also ties to Yamatagi Madara, who was now the guardian of the eastern and western mountains. With this, even if Jurota were to pass away someday, his relatives would be able to carry on in his place. The idea was that by having his descendants live on the mountains, the obligation to protect would effectively bind Yamatagi Madara to the land. Though they could be considered a family, it was not common in those times for commoners to use surnames, so that's really cute. It's like, in a spiritual sense, all of the people of the mountains that descended from these 9 families are descendants of Jurota and Dara-san. So Dara-san has like the village, the town is her family. Then instead, they bore the mark of Ju from Jurota's name. We saw it on the grave. Over time, that cross-shaped character would embed itself into each of their own names. Okay, and we've seen it in some of them so far. Now I want to go back through the character pages, you know? To carry on with Kenju's work, 512 stone stakes were prepared and were driven into the 2 mountains over the course of several years. It may not necessarily be a barrier like a cage, but by demarcating it as a divine domain separate from the human inhabited area, beings that are treated like gods won't be able to easily come and go as they please. I still feel a bit uneasy leaving you alone inside that area, Jurota, but we've already made all the preparations that we humans can. From here on out, Jurota, as the mountain's protector, was left in that sacred area for 2 months. It's all up to the gods. The scattering technique left behind by the younger shrine maiden prevented the serpent from using fear as a source from which to channel power. This technique was confirmed to have lost its effectiveness, indicating furthermore that this effect was no longer necessary. That is to say, there was a new mountain guardian, not the serpent from before, wrapped in something like a cocoon of miasma, drawing it not the serpent from before, wrapped in something like a cocoon of miasma, drawing it in towards itself. An impure amalgamation of vengeful spirit and Aragami, a serpent-bodied, six-armed goddess of calamity. It was an indication that Yamatagi Madara was waking up. 32nd Strange Encounter. Very cool frontispiece there. With the early wild, doesn't remember things version of Yamatagi Madara Dara-san. Like pre-Dara-san. And now we're back in the present. It's been so long since I last saw a movie. And this is the one I was talking about, like on the far left there. That's the one who looks like they might be sisters. That's the one who looks like Kozue. That every time I saw either of them, I was just assuming it was the same character showing up, which made me remember her more, because I was like, oh, she shows up in the background kind of a lot. But it's really that there were two of them showing up in the background that I just thought was the same person. And the one with the glasses maybe kind of somewhat looks like the teacher. Maybe they could be related. But again, it's a manga, so the characters are going to end up looking similar because of art style. You can't really judge that. And it's not like Kaoru and Hinata just look exactly identical or anything. We've also got Amane there. All it takes is a 40-minute train ride to feel like you're in the big city. It's been a while since I took the JR line. Okay, neat. What exhilaration. I must share this feeling with somebody. You've been a fan since the moment it got serialized, haven't you, Tomo-chan? Well, since we're here already, why don't we go to the QB Mall and take a break? I freaking love the Kyuko family. And we have sexy fox mascot, a super huge shopping mall. Drat. And we have the suffering Yamatagi Madara. That thing they called a movie, while it was playing, everyone's attention was directed at it. And if you're walking through a crowd, it's easy to blend in, so even regular invisibility magic is fine. But in a quiet tea house, I really need to concentrate on hiding my presence. If you want to specialize in the art of invisibility, it's crucial that you cut yourself off from the outside world. I must melt away and sink into the depths of Amane's soul. I'm going to enter a deep slumber. Please don't do anything unnecessary. It'd be too scary to go by myself, but after watching that, I'm kind of interested in checking out some abandoned buildings. I'd get bored so quick. Come to think of it, it isn't necessarily abandoned, but there's this building just off of the front of the station. At first glance, it looks like an old multi-floor shopping mall, but almost everything inside is closed and shuttered up. I guess it used to be some kind of indoor amusement park, or at least that's what it looks like with the equipment that's there. I heard it's like a ghost town in there nowadays. I wonder how that happened. Dunno, should we Google it? It's not that important. It probably just wasn't profitable. It sounds like it's far from the station after all. It's a tough world, but at least different from a regular derelict or demolished building. Want to go check it out? Then this is a bit different than I imagined. We got a map over here, a guide map. And whoa, right side, notice north building under construction, do not enter, left Abeno Delta. Okay. Okay, I see now. Yeah. Abeno Delta? Wouldn't that be... Avena? Avena Delta? Wouldn't that be Avena? And yeah, the other one is North Building under construction, and then entrance prohibited. Okay. Like, I'm not sure what, like, I don't know how, like, touchy and new in that, like, put together like that. I don't know how I'd pronounce that. But Kinchi, and then, of course, what would North Building be? Like, it wouldn't be Kita-kan, right? It wouldn't be Kita. It'd be read as something different. I forget how else. To? I forget how else to read North. And then, Kojichu or Kojinaka? Gosh, I again don't know how to like, I recognize the kanji meanings, all of them, but the readings when put together like that, I'm never confident on would it be read like this at this part of a word or what. Then oh no, never mind. I was going to say is that a nu, not a na, but no, that's totally na there. So like Avena, Avena, because it's like a long Avena Delta. I have no idea what that's supposed to mean. I was thinking if that's a nu at the end, could it be Avenue Delta? But no, that's not a nu at the end. Then the old amusement park's probably on the other side of these construction plywood walls. Seems like it's scheduled for demolition. No surprise that it's off limits. Come on, everyone, this way, and no, har, 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 har. Silent fire hydrant. Whoa, it's actually kind of amazing. It doesn't feel like an old building at all, but the place has practically no tenants. It's like a dungeon. According to the map from earlier, it seems there are only 2 stores still open. There's still open stores? Can the building and shops really keep operating off of just that? Surely. The escalator in the lobby wasn't even working. Sounds like a usual dead mall. Maybe the electricity is only on for the first floor? I wonder if they opened their stores here and are just too stubborn to leave. They missed their chance to finish up. Both the shops and the building. Some window shoppers come by once in a while. We've got some cute ones today, huh? Who are you? I've been taking up shelter here for years. We have homeless guy. Wait a second, everyone. Something's weird. What happened to Mane-chan? I thought I'd head back to to the recycle bin at the entrance to throw out my plastic bottle. Ooh, this is a really cool looking panel. That entrance closed long ago. You say something, old man? Not sure if they liked you or were jealous of you. Spells disaster either way. And he's leaking! Eek! By the way, when my sister was leaving, we cut away to Kaoru, it seems like her charm got caught on a metal hook or something. It went like stretch, rip. She said sorry. I don't mind. Okay, so no getting bailed out by Dara-san? But does she really want me to repair it? I could just make her a new one. She's been wearing it for a while. Maybe she's attached to it. But I am worried. The last time she went on a trip, she brought back something strange, right? Alright, that guy you hit with your Dara-san one punch. Her spiritual sense is very sharp, but because of that, it's also overly sensitive. In crowded areas like city or town centers, your body has a natural tendency to automatically dull its senses to protect itself from being overwhelmed by excessive unnecessary stimuli. As a result, you tend not to notice minor spiritual disturbances or abnormalities. By the time you notice something strong, you may have already found yourself in a dangerous situation. Well, she's just going to the movies with friends, so there shouldn't be any problems. But even so, there are times where you'll inadvertently end up in some weird places. This goes for you, too. But tell Hinata to keep this on her person at all times whenever she leaves town. Duly noted. And we have splashing thin water on the ground. Welcome back, young lady. But we're back here again. What's with this place? They are in a dungeon. I can't believe this was the time I left my charm at home. 382, 383, 384, 385. I walk about 70 centimeters with each step, so 70 times 385 steps per loop. That makes it about 270 meters. I did 3 loops and it was about the same each time. Forget whether it's short or long. What should we do? It doesn't really answer anything. It's more just something to talk about. You poor things. You'd be better off just giving up now. I ended up the same back in my day. Someone died right after this place opened. The seemingly accidental death of a staff member received only a brief mention in the newspaper, but the cause of death was drowning. And we have the suit. I sense a shadowy presence creeping like muck underfoot. We have the snake. I can't afford idle slumber under these circumstances, but what a godsend it is to discover that there is a weakness to her spiritual sense. Truly a godsend. What's this now? It would appear that you aren't carrying your talisman. What will you do, priestess? While you're off dawdling about, there are those who would gobble up all of the overflowing energy from your cherished little disciple. And we end on a cliffhanger there with bichari bichari sound effects as they're walking. We have under 20 unicorn, and that's the Unko, a company that originally specialized in developing and selling personal safety devices and countermeasure equipment designed to prevent the sexual abuse of minors, particularly girls, and public groping of female students. It bears the name Unicorn, the protector of maidens, and a logo inspired by its twisted horn. Some of their products that were meant to defend against sexual assault, a personal alarm that would rupture the eardrums of perverts with a directional audio blast, and panties concealing poison needles that contained a paralytic agent, were recalled after they became highly controversial due to accidents and comments about their excessiveness. In addition, the company is currently expanding to produce clothing-related products. Yeah, that seems like it would backfire on the user in very bad ways. And then Twister Unko the Tornado. Speaking of which, this brand is unrelated to Under 20 Unicorn. The logo isn't a horn, it's just poop. Then Sakura of the Wreckage. Headline: The girl that I found in the ruins seemed to be clinging to a human form. Dead drunk and having missed the last train, a salaryman is walking back home when he gets caught in a downpour. Desperately seeking shelter from the rain, he ducks under the eaves of an apartment. When he calmly enters the apartment and takes a look around, he notices that it seems devoid of any signs of life. He discovers a room with a half-open door, and peering into it, finds a strange girl standing in the darkness of a room that looks like it would belong in a dilapidated house. That strange encounter marks the beginning of this horror mystery story that originally started as a serialized web novel. Depicted here is the live-action theatrical release of the original work. The actress who played the role of the protagonist, Sakura, was well received for her strong resemblance to the original illustrations and images of the character, and quickly grew a fan base despite being young and lesser known. Okay, neat. We have Bokuga. Oh, I know that word. No, what is that word? Oh man, I'm blanking on it. I've totally seen that word. So it says, the girl I found in the ruins seemed to be clinging to a human form. Bokuga, I guess that must be ruins. Deao ta shoujo wa hito no katachi ni shigami tsuite? I might be reading that kanji wrong. Tsuiteiru. Yo datta. Alright. And then something no Sakura. What is it? Again? Sakura of the Wreckage. Okay. Okay. Well, moving along. Okay, and the translator note threw some of them together, some of the names. We have Miwa Irako. So, Miwa has... Well, yeah. Weird. I thought... Huh. So Tomita obviously has the 10 in it because To, and then we have different numbers with them. So I guess all of the 9 will be numbered. Interesting. So I would have thought Miwa was her surname and Irako, because Irako is usually what would be a given name. But it seems like Miwa is actually her given name and Irako is her surname. And Irako is written with 510 child. And Tomita is written with 10 something field. And I've brought up Misogiya before being 310, which is 30. So it would be like 50 child. And then 30 tree valley? That's Tani, right? So Misogiya is 30 tree valley. And then Masatsugu, which Masatsugu is where Nagi is from, right? Is written with 20 something. I don't know that kanji. So again, we have 10. So I guess 10 through 90 will be in all of their surnames. So we know that Tomita is 10, Misagi is 30, Masatsugu is 20, and Irako is 50. So we have maybe yet to see 40, 60. There are 10 of them. So we have yet to see. Oh, wait, no, there are 9 of them. 40, 60, 70, 80, and 90. So we have 5 families that maybe we haven't seen yet. All right, then. So obviously, the 2 guardian families make sense. In addition to that, the family that the priestess, like priesthood, goes down through makes sense. And then on top of that, I just figured because Irako lived near them and she was an important character, and also Naomichi is another Irako, like we've had multiple from that family, it would make sense that that was one of them. So I wonder if there are any of the others too, like any of the other characters that we've gotten their names. I guess I'll glance back through the pages before reading the next chapter, but I'll do it on a jump cut so I don't waste a bunch of time just looking back through the bonus pages. So for you, let's go to chapter 33. Okay, so I went back and looked, and it doesn't seem like any of the other characters do have the 10 in their name. But I did notice that we have one character that got like a shared, like one of Hinata's friends and the glasses girl, the 2 of them got a shared page at the end, like a shared page with just their names. I don't know if we got much info about them. She wasn't in the group going to the movies, though. So we haven't gotten the one girl that looks like Kozue's character profile, but there was another girl there who didn't show up in this chapter, but has gotten a character thing. At least, well, that's the way it seems. But moving on now, we have a different scanlator page at the beginning, so maybe different scanlation from what we've had, potentially. We have, as a mountain guardian, between the 2 mountains near the Shrine of the Cursed Arm, Jurota set up his residence near a gentle valley. Do you understand, Jurota? Even though you have the protection of the former younger priestess who's become half of Yamatagi Madara, it's still unknown how much of a restraint you can be against that great yokai. For now it would be best to focus entirely on observing. With the mountain's protection, Jurota's concealment was such that, as long as he was within the mountain, it was as if he had assimilated with the mountain itself. No one can detect him. The sound of a bell? The first is Tamatsugumi. Let that sound follow me. Now that I've been reduced to just a curse. One of the techniques left behind by the younger priestess, Tamatsugumi. Relying on that sound, Jurota observed Yamatagi Madara wandering in the mountain. He spent time carefully writing down and striving to understand its nature in detail. First, at this point it seems likely that neither consciousness is yet clear. How should I put it? I cannot feel anything like a will. Perhaps the half of the giant snake whose head was severed is having unexpected trouble controlling the younger priestess's grudge, even if she is eventually swallowed by the snake. The fact that the younger priestess's thoughts are that strong also means there's that much of a chance for her to remain. and within the scope of Jurota's investigation, Yamatagi Madara was only loitering in the western mountain where the Snake's Head Mound and the Shrine of the Cursed Arm are located. This is just a guess, but the younger priestess's half is concerned with the left arm that seals the snake's head. The snake's half is trying to reclaim its own head. It's probably those thoughts that are causing it to base itself in that area. Although there is the danger of the man-eating great yokai Yamatagi Madara returning from the underworld with the priestess's techniques, in the current situation where the priestess's will is appearing strongly, even in such a form, to rejoice that you're still in this world, Jirota suddenly showed a look of relief. I guess I'm that shallow, huh? After this, during the roughly 2 months when Yamatagi Madara was still in daze, he attempted contact, regardless of the danger. Unfortunately, there was no reaction like the one he had hoped for. The reason his actions ended after 2 months is because 2 corpses were discovered in the mountain. And now we have 33rd mystery. And we get a frontispiece of the 3 friends of Hinata. Drowning? You mean they drowned inside a building like this? Look closely at your surroundings. And then, up until this place became like this, including myself, there were 3 people left. I only learned after I got here that 2 people died here during its construction. Even if you're able to escape with them blocking your way, everyone gets cursed so that your souls are forced to return. That many? The people who were in charge of the station front redevelopment project back then kept it completely hidden. Well, it's a pity since you're young, but let us get along from now on. Young girls raised at the foot of something like a sacred mountain, however small. They must have looked quite dazzling to these creatures. Heh. No matter how extraordinary their spiritual power is, if they've not undergone any training, this girl right now is nothing but a useless blockhead holding a belly full of arrows. These things are the remnants of agony swallowed by the curse, evil spirits that do nothing but scatter the suffering they received onto others. Even with natural talent, she will not be able to repel this many in this place. Rest easy, Yamatagi Madara. The soul of the girl cursed to death. I will be sure to put it in my belly and bring it back. They're all coming this way? And they're attracted to Amane. Human, you'll be targeted too. And then, okay, never mind, she's just jumping in the way to protect her. Hinata-san, look out! And then is also somewhat resistant to spirits, in addition to her naturally high spiritual power. Someone who simply has a maximum spiritual power capacity that surpasses Hinata's looks the most delicious. Okay, so they are going there. The one who is hiding their presence with concealment. The face. Did she look like a feast to you? Eh? Did you think that I, who was hiding in this girl's soul, would be eaten along with the rest of them? And the Yamatagi Madara protects them. Don't underestimate me. What? Come out, you source of the curse. Did you not know that snakes are tenacious? Laying a hand on the prey I have already marked, I will not let you get away with this. A dragon? Or just a human sacrifice that gained that form simply by being enshrined as one? You filled in the old well, didn't you? A youngster who cannot even use Yodomi, truly a frog in a well. The serpent inhales the surrounding miasma in a single gulp. Yodomi refers to a pool of miasma, a mass of ownerless demonic power that arises within a plot of land. The reason the ancient yokai form a bond with the land is to improve their affinity with this power and incorporate it strongly into their own power. Okay. Got it. You fool who cannot even compete for Yodomi. But the snake, no, the former Yamagami. And is that what they have been translating the other translators as Aragami? The former mountain god. Yamatagi Madara did not realize. Overwhelmed by Yamatagi Madara, who'd taken in the Yodomi to temporarily manifest in the flesh, the group of middle school girls loses consciousness, the emotion they held stronger than fear. A huge snake came to save us. Awesome. A heart of gratitude, support, and profound respect. The death-stained snake, which had grown up eating only fear until now, even if it was only 5 people for now, it manifested by receiving their faith. Why? Its face. So now, is it going to start, like, becoming tsundere because it gets addicted to being the hero? So it's going to turn good by being tsundere. It's going to be like, no, trust me, believe me, I'm still evil. I still want my revenge, as it becomes more and more helpful. Hey, look. Excuse me, young ladies, what happened? You shouldn't be sitting down and sleeping in a place like this. The shops are open. You're soaking wet. Don't tell me again? As I thought, we really should move our shop soon. Don't say such reckless things. If we run away from here like the previous shop did, it's okay. Probably now. I think it'll be okay. The owners of the 2 remaining shops, the time they would come to believe those words, would be after the surrounding area gradually regained its bustle. People often say things like, was that all a dream? But if that's possible. Alright, let's discuss what everyone remembers. I got carried away, he's all shriveled, using Yodomi. To use an analogy, it's like fitting a large gear onto a small gear. Just because it gives you benefits doesn't mean that it doesn't use your own energy. Come to think of it, the god of the local shrine. Furthermore, Yodomi is strictly the miasma of the land. It cannot be taken back. After exterminating an evil snake, there's a story about using the reformed snake as a servant, right? Is that so? It is! Oh no, and the story is going to shape them. Maybe that, or maybe the part that conveyed that Dara-san wasn't originally a bad person turned out that way. But it does seem like Amane-chan might be possessed by a seemingly harmless snake god, thinks Hinata. I'm sure that little guy is doing his best. Then, visiting the shrine as I thought, that kind of thing. Until now, I only did it as a formal event, but yeah, no one would probably believe this, but I'm so grateful to the pet snake. Such impudence! However, in the long run, perhaps making these little girls into servants of me and Aragami and keeping them in this world could be useful. Okay, so they used Aragami here. And Aragami would be wild god, Yamagami is mountain god. So I guess that's just both terms that they were using for Yamatagi Madara. I mean, isn't it cool when a villain who used to do bad things saves middle school girls? And then, I totally get it, they're all into it. That's not exactly what I'm looking for. However, even if it is only a little, I can feel their faith flowing in, and my power accumulating. Yamatagi Madara did not realize here either. The faith born this time first goes toward the enshrined deity of the shrine, and then it's distributed to the snake as a divine beast in service. In other words, and we have the belief power, assumed god, god's portion, and pet portion. Dara-san, who's the original source of the enshrined deity, is actually getting more power. Heh heh heh. Gathering power this way isn't bad either. See, my friend Amane-chan has a tiny snake possessing her. This land certainly has a lot of connections with snakes. Also, its existence was revealed quite normally. By the way, the middle-aged man was not eaten by either the snake or the ugly dragon, so he was later able to pass on in peace. I'm glad you're safe, young ladies. He's just a normal good person. Funny. Okay, so we finally have a page for this character. Nanako Sawatari, Hinata's classmate, an only child, so not sisters to Kozue, even though they look similar. Also, Kozue was Shinohara. So yeah, different names. An only child who lost her father at a young age. She now lives alone with her mother. She has a slightly chubby build, but despite how she looks, she has good reflexes and belongs to the kendo club. She's somewhat poor at studying. Her school grades are not that great, but she has a very strong interest in trivia and possesses a lot of strange knowledge. Nice. Again, I love the character designs in this manga. They're so good. But that's a cool ending for the volume. I liked that chapter a lot, and I guess it just carries on from the chapter before. The two of them are kind of a two-parter. I Find the Snake and Amane so fun. So I can't wait to see more of them. What we've got of them's been really fun. I like them. They're good. And then just seeing more of Hinata, seeing more of her group of friends. And I said early on that it felt like our focus was heavily on Dara-san and Kaoru, and we've still seen plenty of them. And people were like, don't worry, there's more Hinata in the future. Because I was like, Hinata's really not getting as much time as the others. But like last volume, there was more. This volume, there was a ton. It really feels like despite Kaoru being on the cover, we have gotten a lot more Hinata focus, which is nice. But again, now it's leaving me wanting more Kaoru, especially going back when I was like just glancing through the chapters to go to the character pages and check names between chapters. I was like, wow, the amount of fan service for Kaoru was just so different. But either way, I miss it. I am nostalgic for it, even though it hasn't even been that long. But either way, we've got one more chapter, so let's go check out the volume bonus. And I guess I'll throw just a 4 up here, even though, well, hold on, let me remove the chapter part. Where's the, oh my god, which layer is where it says chapter? I don't know which layer that is. It's not that. I think it's like actually baked onto the background. Like the black part, the chapter isn't its own unique layer, I don't think. Okay, well, since that's the case, it's not chapter 4, it's the volume 4 bonuses. We have jingle bells, jingle all the way. How should I put it? The pressure of this annoyance is incredible. And we have Happy Merry Christmas, Dara-san. Okay, I'm excited. I mean, I'm kind of able to watch the whole town. It is not as if I do not understand it at all. In short, it's that thing, right? Like a festival where they decorate the town once December begins. Late on the night of the 24th, a Santa god dressed entirely in crimson breaks through the chimney and leaves a present by the bedside of good children before departing. He's quite a generous spirit. Given that they're half white, you would have thought that maybe the Misogiyas would celebrate Christmas more than the surrounding families. Then he's quite a generous spirit. Our school's gonna have a big cleaning on the 24th until noon, then it'll be winter break. As expected, our family has Christmas plans, but I was trying until the last minute to figure out a way we could get to stay over. Or we could get you to stay over. But this Sima Yi couldn't come up with anything and wept bitter tears. I cried like crazy. What kind of face are you showing me on a night where you're celebrating with family? Gah, I wish Japan's gods could cave to foreign culture just for Christmas. Eh? Eh? In red clothes, carrying presents. Children's picture book. Entering the house through a chimney. December 25th, a few minutes after 2 a.m. Usually I would either get permission or use force to enter a house, but right now there's a substitute body, so to speak, in Kaoru's room, so this should be no problem. It seems that chimneys aren't usually attached to ordinary households. In that case, I shall make one. She creates a hole through the ceiling. Well, for now, I've put up some chimney-style decorations. And then we have, wow! I am a big fan of Underboob. Very nice. It seems like they'd be noisy if I didn't have proof that I properly played Santa. If you're going to be communicating via supernatural means anyway, why not increase the base performance? With that reasoning, they gave her an old smartphone. Now then, Merry Christmas was it? Though whether Kaoru is a good boy is a bit doubtful. What is this? And he wrapped himself as the present. Why is this guy wrapped in ribbons from head to toe? I've never been dressed like this, have I? We have bunny suit Dara-san. The horror on her face. That homeroom teacher is truly unfortunate, being made to create things like this every time. No, that one was actually my mom. What? Looks like staying up late was worthwhile. No, you completely fell asleep. Just go back to bed. I have achieved my life's desire, treading the path to absolute limits of exhaustion. What is that even? Well, I don't think I've prepared something that a modern day elementary school boy would actually enjoy, and he probably doesn't expect much from me in terms of the item itself. From scratch, transforming and combining single part replacement, unrivaled Fury Gunblaze. It's a bit mature for a 5th grader, but conversely, it's the kind of thing that feels like it'll actually have a terrifying price in 20 years if he ends up as a hardcore otaku. And if I go leave now, I'm certain Hinata will complain. This house is old and most rooms don't have individual locks, which is a help. Welcome, Miss Santa Claus. Prepared. I bid you welcome. Go to sleep. This is Dara-san's portion of the Christmas cake. We're going to offer it tomorrow anyway, so let's just eat it now. I was made to play Santa, so why am I the one receiving something? Well, in my era, you would be at the age for marriage, since a protection sword would probably be a violation of the Swords and Firearms law, crafted with steel from the 4th layer of the spirit world using a traditional tamahagane smelting method. Is it my imagination, or do I feel some serious production skills here? I want that one too. When you come of age. I'll be good and go back to sleep. Why are you always like this? Anyway, with this, my Santa duties are complete. Farewell. Thank you. Good night. That knife you got, the knife that you two got me for a present, they cut incredibly well. Thank you. Eh? Is that so? Finally, it's been forever since we've been able to come to Dara-san's house. It hasn't been that long, and I'm reflecting a bit on letting you into the other world so casually. Dara-san versus Death Killer Cushion. Last time, what about the after party? Why, I just don't see a reason to let you. But we always stay in the living room, right? Well, most of the other rooms besides the kitchen are pretty run down. Don't you have a room? No. Well, no. You're a pretty bad liar. But when we searched the house, there wasn't any room that looked like it, right? These kids. No, well, indoors is quite cramped unless I transform my legs. When you all aren't here, I surprisingly don't enter this house much. And the two of them staring. Ah ha ha, there must be something in the back garden, they charge out. Why are they so unnecessarily sharp? A garage. Hold on. If this were a shrine, this would be like the main hall, because it's the place where the god rests. We are, your believers, your worshippers, your followers. Right. That's probably not quite right, but I guess. Yay, open sesame. You'd probably just end up sulking if I didn't let you in at this point. And demon fire to turn on the lights. It's kind of bland. What exactly were you expecting? It's cute though, I like a room. Anyway, what's with this ominous large luggage? You've got a good eye. Did you bring that along with you just in case you couldn't get into my room? Or in case you could get in? Our dad bought this, but it ended up being too big, and Mom got mad at him. Since we were going to throw it away, I asked if I could give it to a friend who wanted it. The bead cushion that turns humans into absolute trash. With a name like that, it's probably not something that you should be offering to a cursed god. Well, I guess it's technically an offering. I should grab some sheets. Indeed, indeed. Please accept it. I thought you would bring more of your personal belongings. No, because since it's Dara-san's private room, it has to be a place where Dara-san can relax and be comfortable all by herself. We wouldn't want to intrude on such a sacred location. I wonder why that thoughtfulness only comes out once in a while. Well, even calling it a private room. Until I met you all, it was just a place where I occasionally rested. Lately, as one would expect, I wear clothes in front of you. How adult of you. That naked wandering feels nostalgic now. When the weather gets bad, I've started using this place often, so as to not get my clothes dirty. Yeah, it can get rainy and muddy, huh? And we have the picture up, and they both smile at it. Ooh, hee hee hee, eek, eek, eek. Huh? What's wrong? It's nothing. Well, we just wanted to check out your room while we gave you the cushion, so let's head back and play some games. Huh? Sure, is that so? Then, by the way, Dara-san later sank into the cushion and became quite useless. What is this? Cute. And we have Yokai Encyclopedia. Ramonozaki. Ramanazoki? The A's and O's are pretty similar looking. Appears in Volume 1, Mystery 9. It's more of an evil spirit than a traditional yokai. It has an uncontrollable obsession with watching living creatures waste away. It wanders outside houses and frightening the inhabitants into letting it in. If a terrified resident allows it inside, it demands to be let into their private rooms. Its name comes from the way it peers gleefully through the ranma, openwork transoms above interior doors, to watch its victims as they grow weak or descend into madness, unable to escape their home. If someone actually welcomes it in, it will disappear looking bored. While it occasionally leaves entirely, in most cases it haunts the house and begins killing the family members, starting with the youngest first, excluding the person who invited it in. It does this so it can savor the sight of that individual being slowly destroyed by the overwhelming guilt of having let the spirit in. That thing really surprised me back then. I can't have them doing whatever they want on my turf. So cute. Then we have the gecko. First appears in Volume 2, Mystery 15. These supernatural insects that mainly infest the deep layers of the otherworld, despite their appearance and size, they possess a gentle nature and absolutely have no interest in anything other than carrion. During times of turmoil in the human world, such as war, famine, or plague, when the boundary with the other world becomes blurred, they occasionally appear in the world of the living to consume corpses. As for their population, one could say they're numerous, yet also scarce. This is because while they certainly appear when a corpse falls into the other world, no one knows the specific details of the supernatural insect's ecology. Can I ride you? The face of it looks like she's under the protection of a powerful spirit, so I don't want to say no. How they met, I guess, that time. Then we have Ganburi. Appears in Volume 3, Mystery 24. A yokai mutated from a human. It is the tragic transformation of a base individual who delighted in pocketing kickbacks or stealthily skimming off the top. It's said that fishermen on seas where the Gamburi appeared would slam a fish against the rocks at the end of their catch to distract it, ensuring their main haul wouldn't be targeted. The name Gamburi comes from the way it licks the remains of those fish off the crags. In this specific case, a thief used a jar as a hiding spot, but the rope hooked to the rim slipped, leaving him unable to escape. After calling for help in vain and wasting away to death, he transformed into a yokai by skimming off the offerings and faith intended for Watagame-sama. He took over the land of Watagame-sama, who had lost power as the festivals died out, and continued to lick away at the meager spiritual energy remaining in the soil. The corpse inside was never discovered because the festival only occurred once a year. Since the offerings of fish were expected to rot anyway, no one ever peered inside the jar. It was considered the territory of, or sacred territory of a god. Then we have Magide. It appears in Volume 4, Mystery 27, the Hanako-san of the staff room, Hanako Murayashiro. The fifth school mystery that exists yet no one knows of is actually this yokai. It's the type of yokai that haunts buildings similar to Zashiki Warashi. Although it bears the name Hanako-san, it's a completely different entity from Hanako-san of the toilets, found in urban legends. The earliest records of it date back to the early Meiji era. While it possesses buildings, its abilities are specialized entirely for blending in to a location. It is almost impossible for a human to identify this yokai, because it influences memory and perception. It's rare for anyone to even feel a sense of unease. In exchange for this, however, it has almost no power other than its ability to blend in. It's virtually incapable of causing harm to humans. In fact, most Magire are very fond of the places they have merged into. They feel such frustration at their inability to save the living creatures in their territory from great evils that it pains them. However, if a Magire chooses to use its power of blending in for another purpose, it'll be able to grant a wish, though at the cost of no longer being able to remain in that place. It is only because such Magire existed in the past that we've come to know of their existence at all. Man, and there's still one more page. Okay. We still have one more encyclopedia page. We have the Choyabo. Sorry, hiccup. Appears in Volume 4, Mystery 29. A yokai said to be a corruption of the name Bikutsuri Jibozu, the creel fishing old priest. It takes a form of a figure clad in tattered monk's robes carrying a fishing rod and a creel. It's said to be a yokai born from an evil monk who deceived others and was consumed by lust, eventually possessed by a supernatural entity. It wanders by traveling along the water. Its fixed, plastered-on smile and large earlobes may be physical manifestations of its true nature. It casts a fishing hook, which is extremely difficult to sense, into the land to snag delicious souls that possess strong spiritual power. By entangling itself with the soul caught on the hook, it gains the ability to enter that person's dwelling at will. This gives it the troublesome capability to bypass barriers or wards once a target's been hooked. Vitality resides in the physical body, while the spiritual energy resides in the soul. Once the hook is set, it drains the victim's vitality. After savoring that vitality to its heart's content, the yokai reels in the soul from the now defenseless body, devouring every bit of the victim's spirit and energy. No consuming both their life and their very soul. Consuming both their life and their very soul. In Chiyo's case, she had the misfortune of being targeted by a choyobo that had drifted into the area. The hook caught in Chiyo was so subtle that even Dara-san could not perceive it without looking at it directly. Insane how much detail we're getting for them. It's very, very cool, though. You can tell they cared about developing out their world, and we've focused a bit more on this supernatural stuff recently. But lastly, we have the Hyakken. Appears in Volume 4, Mystery 33. It came to be known by the name Hyakken because it possesses a very long torso of an unknown number of ken. One ken is apparently 1.82 meters. In the past, people driven to desperation during a famine followed the instructions of a prayer practitioner and offered a human sacrifice in a dry well to summon water. They subsequently enshrined the sacrifice as a dragon god. The person who became the sacrifice did so with resolve, and the entity took the form of a beautiful dragon. However, because the well was eventually filled in, the entity recalled the agony of death when it was a sacrifice and transformed into a tatarigami, a cursed god. Cursing the fact that it was buried alive, Hyakken manipulates stagnant, rotten water to occasionally drown those who enter its territory. Furthermore, by drowning the souls it's taken in, it enslaves them as mindless, vengeful spirits. The man in the store was able to maintain his sanity to some extent, because he'd not yet been fully enslaved. After being released from the domain that had turned into another world, he likely wandered for a while before being able to pass on in peace. However, no one knows what becomes of the souls that are taken in and then scattered. Okay, very long, very detailed and all. And just looking at the front and back covered. Okay. Nice. And then these bonus pages like we've gotten before. Volume 4 has been released. Yay, yay. And we have China Dress Kaoru. Again, less fan servicey than we've got in the past. Yay. Even the spin-off works are popular. I've never heard of anything like that. What are you talking about? Huh? You didn't know? I guess you can't help it being cooped up in the mountains. I know it's a lie, but I'll still hear you out anyway, just in case. Yamatagi Madara gets reincarnated as a muscular demon-killing nun on a violent pilgrimage. Quit piling more things onto it. There's a lot going on here. And we have our usual art of as many characters as possible. Neat. Throwing in a lot of our characters. Again, I end here. Very good volume once again. I think the serious side of the storyline continued to be very, very good, but much like I began it with, I will end it saying that side of things is very good, but I think that, again, we focused on more of the serious supernatural stuff, and the comedy we got was fun, but it does feel like a noticeable amount less of it. Noticeable amount less fun and fan service and comedy, and I want more of the fun and fan service and comedy back. That is what I want moving forward. I like the story and all, but I want some more of that back. But we'll see how things go. Either way, we'll end things here. Thank you for being here. Thank you for watching. Like if you did like the video, comment down there to tell me what you thought of this set of chapters, what you thought of this volume, what you thought of my thoughts and reaction and all. Subscribe for more. Reiwa no Dara-san, much more on the channel. If you want to help support the channel by dropping a super thanks or sharing around, it's really appreciated. If you want to help support the channel by becoming a member or patron, then you can hit join down below to become a member. Go to patreon.com/Haku of the Tubes, or a link will be in the description to become a patron. Patrons and channel members not only support the channel, but you get your name at the end of videos and get One Piece Bingo a little bit early. So thank you to people who are already members and patrons. Thank you to chosen regulars Evan Holly and Bertie Booster, Magical Girls, Dee Van and Maru, Sheridan Student, David Langstaff, Slayer Candidates, SGN Stan Cedar, and Pure Element, Pate Ariel. Thank you so much for your support. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you all next time.